How many people would you guess are running for president? A lot of people outside of Iowa, New Hampshire, and Washington, D.C. might say 6 or 7. 3 Democrats and maybe 3 or 4 Republicans. That's how many candidates are in the so-called top tier. And with that designation comes a whole lot of attention and a whole lot of money, stuff that the other candidates simply won't get. So who are those other candidates and what do they want? Here's AFR correspondent Jam Sardar with a closer look at the men on the bottom tier.
Can you identify this man? Do you know who this is? Ever seen this guy? Recognize him? No? Because there's a tiny, slim, infinitesimal chance that one of them might raise their right hand and take over as the follow-up act to this guy.
Hi, George Walker Bush.
So allow me to introduce Colorado Congressman Tom Tancredo.
Public policy issues we face.
Former Alaska Senator Mike Gravel.
And our tax system is totally corrupt right now.
California Congressman Duncan Hunter.
That the United States House of Representatives stands with them.
And the representative from Ohio, Dennis Kucinich.
That will be the basis for the beginning of the end of the war in Iraq.
They are a few of the many candidates who don't register in what political experts call the top tier of candidates, namely Clinton, Obama, and Edwards for the Democrats, Giuliani, McCain, Romney, and the undeclared Fred Thompson for the Republicans. But is it fair for the pundits and the media to classify candidates like that?
It's absolutely fair to separate out the bottom tier. There are some of the candidates who very clearly don't have much prospect of being able to win.
That said, political experts say it's unfair to lump them all together. There's a second tier and a third tier. Democrat Bill Richardson, a former cabinet official, UN ambassador, and current governor, has an impressive resume. He just doesn't have name recognition or money. The same could be said of some senators, Delaware's Joe Biden and Connecticut's Chris Dodd. Or former GOP governors, Mike Huckabee of Arkansas and Tommy Thompson of Wisconsin.
Whose basic plan is to hang around and hope to get lucky, hope to be able to strike fire, hope to be able to raise some money to be able to jump in the first tier, and whose bet, frankly, is to hope that somebody in the first tier falls away.
Then there's the third tier, those candidates calling attention to themselves or their top issues.
Let's get those troops home, and let's take a stand and do it now.
Dennis Kucinich is so opposed to the war in Iraq, he's calling on fellow Democrats to cut off funding the troops in order to bring them home. And Tom Tancredo made a career cracking down on illegal immigration. Odds are they'll never put those policies in place from the Oval Office. But it's not to say they won't make a difference either.
Since a lot of these issues are a little bit on the extreme right or left, it at least forces other candidates to pay some attention to those extreme positions. It puts a little bit extra spice into the debate and probably in subtle ways changes the nature of the rest of the debate.
All right, first of all, Jam Sardar, let me thank you for doing the service of introducing us or reintroducing us to people that have long been forgotten by the mainstream media. We do things a little bit different here on the report.
We try and mix it up some, absolutely. Well, a lot of people don't know that these other candidates exist. And I bet you 80, 90, 95% of our viewers couldn't name those 4 guys that we saw at the beginning of the story.
Good point. But not everybody's in it to win it. And if you're not in it to win it, that doesn't mean it's wasted time.
Absolutely, and that's the point we made at the end of the story. Some people are highlighting issues that they think are important to them, and just being a part of the debate, being up on the stage with however many other candidates there are, still gives you a platform, still gives you a microphone that you wouldn't normally have. And for some of these other guys, you know, I think they know that the odds are long that they might not be president, but this could set them up well for perhaps a vice presidential slot. They've already gone through the vetting by the media. If there are any skeletons in the closet, they probably would come out during this sorting process rather than picking someone who hasn't already gone through it and wondering what skeletons are in the closet.
And let's face it, the vice presidency is not a bad consolation job, and there may be some people who are crafty enough to know that this isn't my turn to be president, but if I could become vice president, ultimately that could lead to something else. We've seen it before. Dennis Kucinich, we've seen him in presidential races before, and let's face it, a lot of people remember him for the gag that he had years back where you could win a date with him. We don't see that being trumped out. In fact, we saw him marching along with a nice, pretty lady.
Absolutely.
What's the deal?
Well, you know, when you're one of those candidates that don't traditionally get a lot of attention, you know, you can do some of those quirky little things that the mainstream or top-tier candidates can't do, like the win a date with Dennis Kucinich. Now, he did that when he ran for president 4 years ago. I don't know if the tall redhead that we saw in there was that's his wife.
That's his wife. He won't be doing
that tactic again. I don't know if she's the woman though who won the date with him and saw it come to fruition like that.
Okay. Well, if you find out that she is, get back to us. All right?
Absolutely.
All right, Jim. Good to see you.